Okay. 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 The Capricorn moon in the 3rd house. All right. With the Saturn, with the Neptune. Okay. Opposing Chiron. Let's get into it. Hello, Ashley, my love. This is your roast or reading, and if you have never been here and don't know what's happening, this is an astrology roast. It's personal. You can book one if you're interested at rxtarot.com, and the point of it is to be silly, be goofy about some pain points and how to move through it. So, Ashley, my dear, I hope this is helpful. So starting off with your Scorpio rising, you also have Pluto and Venus in the 1st. So being a Scorpio rising means that your Pluto is one of your chart rulers. And where's your Mars? Ooh, your Mars is your other one. I'm jealous of your Mars. You may think it's a little too much. But I'm jealous because I am a Cancer Mars retrograde. So seeing an Aries Mars, you get things done. The rising sign is the point on the horizon, the moment of your birth, and it really does set up your entire birth chart. So starting with your 1st house, being Scorpio, you yourself are probably very witchy, very mysterious. You probably don't necessarily like being seen, but you love being noticed. I feel like you understand what I'm saying. Does everybody? Probably not. You don't necessarily want to be the center of attention. You don't necessarily want everyone to be there, but you love when people see you, when people understand you, when people get you. There is a fulfillment there. Because you're so deep, because there's this desire to, and the way you love, oh my God. The way you love is so all-encompassing. You want to merge with your partner. You want to become one with your partner. And you will do anything for your partner as well, because there is this desire here to really achieve in love. A Scorpio Venus is such an interesting placement to me because there's so much focus on trying to dig to the deepest levels of love and abundance, right? Venus is also how you attract. So there's a little bit of a workaholic energy there, which we'll get into because that is actually a theme I'm seeing in your chart. There's a little bit of an obsessive energy to Scorpio Venus, and it can be in a fun way that drives you, or it can drive you crazy. So, watch that. With your Sun and Mercury both in the 2nd house in Sagittarius, you love a good discussion. You love a good debate. You love chatting about things that other people are probably uncomfortable with. You love to expand your ideas and just have a good chat. We also have Uranus sneaking in here. So there is this is that Saturn too? Hold on. Where's Saturn? Saturn is also in the 2nd. Ooh. Okay, so Saturn and Uranus is also joining the party in the 2nd house. So there is a little bit of restriction around how you actually see your value, how you actually see your worth, and being able to notice that the work you do and the things you do are enough for other people, right? So what's interesting about Saturn in the 2nd, I can actually tell you somebody who's very famous, Taylor Swift, has her Saturn in the 2nd, and she's such a perfect example of doing what you love and trusting the process, because she was like a little famous when she first came out. There's rumors about how she became famous, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. She now has a legacy of fans. She has people who were her fans when they were 15, and now those 15-year-olds are 30 with children of their own who listen to Taylor Swift. Saturn in the 2nd is about legacy, long-term connection. It's also it's also about being able to create a real sense of stability for yourself, because the second house can be about money in more of like a fast, trying to achieve instant gratification sort of money. And the reason is it's Venus. It's about what you're attracting and what you're sort of pulling in. It's not necessarily your actual legacy, which is your 10th house, right? But I'll get in that in a minute. Saturn in the second is really speaking to being somebody who can create your own sense of safety, your own sense of stability, and make something that consistently comes to you, which is really cool, right? So there's a lot of positive energy there. The reason this can sometimes get a little sticky and doesn't seem so easy is your moon and your Neptune are in the 3rd house in Capricorn. Now, having your moon and Neptune both in the same sign, both in Capricorn, are a little bit tricky, right? The moon and Neptune have this interesting relationship. The moon is about your intuition. It's about your emotions, right? Your inner world. Neptune is about wisdom beyond what seems possible. So it is intuition, but it's more of like 5th dimension intuition, 7th dimension intuition, where the moon is more about, how you're feeling and trusting that intuitive knowing. Neptune is knowing things that you couldn't possibly know, but somehow you're right. So it's tricky because Capricorn wants proof. Capricorn wants to see the growth. Capricorn wants statistics and the actual chart of how you were able to achieve that success. How did you get there? What's going on there? And that's in your 3rd house. So there is this constant desire to prove what you know, and you could get stuck in your emotions, which could potentially be the exact thing that holds you back from doing the thing that would be successful if you could just let yourself lean into how much fun it would be. So you have your Chiron in Cancer. That may sound like a giant jump. I just realized that. Oh, over here. We're going over here. The reason is, with your moon in Capricorn, we have to understand what could be hindering that even more. I'm a Capricorn moon myself, and learning how to feel my feelings has easily been one of the most important things in my entire life, because it helped me move past an old version of myself that I thought I still was, even though I wasn't, right? I had outgrown that, but how you feel is what you get. So if you've ever been feeling very hindered or you're irritated by your emotions, this could be your Chiron in Cancer. Chiron is the biggest wound in anybody's chart, okay? With your Chiron in Cancer, there can be a wound of family. There can be a wound of the mother. There can be this wound of not really feeling nurtured. And then for it to be opposing your moon in Capricorn, I want to give you a hug, because you likely have thought that your emotions are a hindrance at some point in your life. You may be still feeling this way. So understanding that your emotions are not the problem, it's the view on your emotions that's the issue. Your emotions are either helping you process something from the past and move through resistance, or it's something telling you, I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like where we're going. I want to change directions. So when you're unsure of yourself and you don't really feel good and you feel nervous about taking action, is this something from my past coming up I need to move through? Or is this a misalignment sort of thing? That is what emotion is. And once you can reframe emotion like that, once you can understand that your emotions are actually your friend, they're not trying to hold you back as much as they might at times, and learning to not think so much through your emotions, but instead feel, could be a little tricky because this is in the 3rd house. So learning to feel your feelings, learning to connect to your emotions is going to be about no longer intellectualizing them and proving why you feel the way you do, but instead feeling good and letting yourself process whatever comes up. Focusing on what feels good, focusing on what you actually want to do, and letting that be your guide is how emotion's gonna come up, okay? It's just gonna come up. It doesn't need to hold you back, and it doesn't need to be your enemy. I also want you to remember to nurture yourself, because with a Chiron Cancer, it's also retrograde. This internalized energy of feeling like you're too much for being sensitive, feeling like you're too sensitive to get anything done. These are things that could subconsciously be holding you back as well. Now, again, what I'm excited about for you is your Mars in Aries. You have the ability to take action. You have the ability to get excited about what you're doing and trust the process in a way that not many others do or can. So this is in your 5th house. And when you do the project because you're excited about it, when you go after the thing, when you do the thing that is fun and lighthearted and uplifting that you're excited about, when you do that, it's easy for you to do and you will find more success there. But I think one of the hardest things about doing what we love is sometimes we want proof, or we want answers on how it's going to be successful. We want evidence that the work I'm doing is it's gonna get somewhere. I'm gonna achieve something by doing this thing. If you let yourself lean into just doing things that are creative and fun and fulfilling because you like it, you are going to achieve so much more success. And that's gonna pull you into your Leo midheaven as well. Being creative, being seen doing what you love, being seen for who you are is going to open up opportunities for you that you didn't really know were possible. You are actually in your North Node return. You are actually in your nodal return when I am filming this, because the North Node just moved into Pisces. So I'm excited for you, because this time period really could be a huge shift of letting yourself follow what you actually want to be doing. With the North Node in Pisces in the 4th, you have to ground yourself in a vision. You have to believe in the vision that you're creating for yourself more than what you are currently experiencing in this physical reality. This is true for everybody, but especially for you with a North Node in Pisces, okay? You are meant to trust the unknown. You are meant to go out there and create an idea that other people have no idea how you're doing or what you're thinking of or how that's even going to come to be, and you make it happen. With the South Node in Virgo in the 10th house, there's an interesting energy here. There's something about things that you have learned in the past that will help you get to where you want to go, as long as you don't get held back by those past experiences, those past jobs. You don't get stuck in a job you don't want to be in. When you learn how to use whatever it was that you learned here, which was probably something about keeping a rigid schedule, something about, could even unfortunately be perfectionism a little bit and just trying to make things exactly how you want it, probably a lot of control. When you learn to let go of the control and trust the process, there's so much grounding energy for you. There's so much stability that you can really create there. But again, this is about doing what you love and not feeling like you have to do something that is worthwhile, not feeling like what you do has to be so deep and perfect that other people get something from it. I think one of your biggest struggles is seeing what you do as valuable, especially if it's something you want to do that's just fun. I think that could be a big hurdle for you. You also have Jupiter in Taurus retrograde, which is so interesting, opposing the Scorpio energy. You will feel safer and you will be able to almost feel more expansive when you're in a relationship that truly feels good to you. The issue is you can't wait for that to happen. And having your Taurus in Jupiter retrograde, so having your Jupiter in Taurus in the 7th, it is retrograde. So you have to learn how to feel that connection to love. You have to learn how to feel abundant from within before you can really have a partner that also sort of shows that as well. But this could happen one way or the other. You could find a partner that ends up helping you see that, or you can start to see that and then you end up finding a partner. What's interesting though is it's opposing your Scorpio energy and your Venus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So it's very interesting to me when you look at it from this perspective, because you will find expansion, growth, abundance when you trust your abilities. I think one of the most interesting things about your chart is I don't really think much has actually held you back, besides maybe overthinking, besides maybe a bit of perfectionism. I don't really think a lot has held you back. The question is, are you feeling fulfilled along the process? Are you finding the joy in the journey? Because I think part of it with your chart that's very interesting is I don't think you always check in with yourself. Like, how am I feeling? How am I doing? What's going on? It's like, shut up, focus. And I mean that with all of the love in my heart. As a Capricorn sun and moon, I completely get it. That's in the 8th house. So I understand that obsessive Scorpio energy a little bit of like, I'm going to achieve no matter what. I just want to remind you, it could be easier to actually do everything you're already doing if you also check in with your emotions. And the reason is when you check in with how you're feeling, you get rid of emotions that are no longer serving you, and everything will flow to you more naturally, more easily, without such this intense struggle and restriction feeling. But that's a lot easier said than done when Saturn and your moon are both in Capricorn. So I think for you, the biggest struggle you're likely going to experience is this contrast of the 3rd house being so heavy with Capricorn, and then opposing it is all of this energy of the wound of emotion, the wound of being sensitive, the wound of family, and maybe not necessarily having the support that you need to be able to achieve, but you can achieve without them, I promise. I promise you can. And I feel like you already know that. There is this lighthearted energy here with your Sun and Mercury in Sagittarius. You're so expansive and you have such an ability to see the light side. Never forget that. That's such a huge thing you bring to the table. That's such a gift that you give people, is seeing things from a bigger picture, seeing things from like, no guys, if we just go after it, if we just get really excited about it, if we just move in that direction, it's going to work out. That is your energy. And as long as you don't get bogged up by this emotional block, bull hockey, hogwash, if you will, if you don't get bogged down by all of that, you are pretty much unstoppable with this chart. If I'm being honest. Thank you, Ashley, my love. I hope you enjoyed this roaster reading, and please let me know if you do have any questions, or if you're somebody who's interested in booking your own personal roast. You can go to rxtarot.com. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell if you want to see my face more often. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye.